MasterRhymez. What an inspiration. What an absolute inspiration. This gentleman, he's a rapper. He's a hip hop artist out of Brooklyn. And I was so happy when he accepted the interview. I reached out to him. He's got the 5 songs that I focused on Spotify are just really excellent. Excellent. I can't get enough of them. You'll like that. Just a sample, Empire Thoughts, Strange Things, Hustle 2. I go into them. I talk about some of the lyrics. He grew up in kind of the golden age of hip hop in the 90s. I did an AI search on the top, 90s acts. We talk about them hip hop acts, how he writes and how he everything for him starts with the beat. And he's got this video of him, rhyming just nonstop. I've got so much respect, and there's just so much talent there. And it gives me chills. It's just when I see an artist like this, and I get to talk to them, so fortunate to talk to them and ask them about their process and how he writes. And for him, it starts with the beat. Everything else enters through there. And how what my interpretation of these songs were, and he loved to hear that. And then he kind of bounced back, well, did you notice this, did you notice that? Kind of has like this Easter egg mentality where there's these double entendres. And just a fantastic conversation. I love talking to musical artists. Perhaps I want to be one. I'm not quite sure, but there's envy there. There's not jealousy, but there's just envy and respect. I loved it so much. Great conversation with MasterRhymez. Thanks for listening. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz. People ask me, how did I lose 130 pounds? The quick answer is always discipline. I started my business, wasn't paying attention to my health, was eating too much, drinking too much sweets. My daughter was born. Next thing I know, I'm pre-diabetic, I have hypertension. I knew something had to change. Discipline. I, like many of you, have faced many challenges in your career, in your family, in your life, in your faith. How did you attack them? How did you approach them? How did you solve them, hopefully? It all had to have some degree of discipline. I'm also asked, how did you found and start a tech business that lasted over 25 years? Discipline. I was committed to it, enjoyed technology, didn't enjoy some aspects of it, but knew it was necessary. Discipline. Our podcast mission, how do we use discipline to better ourselves and society? Join me, please, as I talk to interesting people and discuss how they use discipline in their family and their passion and their careers and how it helped them. Our podcast vision, growth through learning from others. Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. It'll be light and serious. Join us, please. Thank you for consideration. About this. MasterRhymez, thank you so much for your time today. Very, very excited to talk to you. What makes a great song?
What makes a great song? Honestly, it's so many different things that goes into it. You can talk about melody, tempo, lyrics, just the vibe of it all, subject matter. It's so many things that go into it. So really, you know, genre could be important too as well, because obviously per taste, everyone has their own different feel and their taste for specific music. But it's so many different elements that combine into one. And that's why it's like I love art. I love the music. So, it's when you get that perfect casserole, that perfect combination, and when it hits, and it's so beautiful. That's why I love to see it take off when it does.
And how do you know when your song is done, when it's ready to be, pushed out to the listeners?
For me personally, I believe that so it all starts with the beat for me, right? And I guess I can kind of take you through my writing process or my
Please.
creative process, right? It all starts with the beat for me. Once I hear the beat, I automatically start freestyling,
Hmm.
in my head, and just, kind of develop exactly where I want to go with the song. So honestly, every single song that I've ever done, just about the first 4 to 8 bars has always been a freestyle. It's the first thing that comes to my head.
Wow.
And then after that, I take the time to continue to write. So for me, after I hear the beat, I freestyle and everything, and then I'm like, okay, cool. This is definitely something I want to complete because the beat is what's carrying me. I get all my inspiration from the beat. and it helps me pick my subject matter. It helps me pick, okay, cool. Am I gonna go extremely lyrical and technical on this? Is it gonna be punchline heavy, a whole bunch of wordplay, double entendres, different things like that? And when it's done, I know it because I know that I felt like I've either told my story, I've demolished it. It's whatever I feel like, lyrically. Um, yeah, and like my ending has to be, perfect the way that I want it to be. So to me, when I know a song is done, like I end it the way that I want. So I always end it on a high note, some type of
Hmm.
punchline, something along those lines.
So when you hear the beat, do you just freestyle the lyrics or do you have lyrics that you've written down?
No, it's always freestyle. I
Wow.
hear the beat. It's always freestyle. And then, like I said, I get into my writing process. But the first little bit, it's always, it's a bop of the head. And it's like, okay, cool. And if we always talk about like making the nasty face or ugly face whenever
Mm.
something's crazy, you're like, oh, I like that. And, if I hear that and I know it's me, it's my style, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's game time. You
So
know.
will you be listening to another song and hear a beat and get inspired, or is it when you're in the studio and you kind of lay a beat down? Like what beats do you hear from to start this process?
Well, so at times maybe I'm just in a different mode. Maybe for a week, I just want to listen to, one of my biggest inspirations is Jadakiss, and I'm from New York, so and I grew
Yes,
up
you
in the
are.
'80s and '90s, so it's I'm very old school hip hop ish. So when I listen to Jadakiss or somebody, let's say I'm listening to him for a week, that full week, I'm kind of in, maybe my punchline mode to where I need
Mm.
something very grimy, very East Coast feel, or something to where I can just spit and just keep going. There's other times to where, maybe I'm listening to Eminem or I'm listening to, whoever, but maybe those people motivate me because when I hear specific people, they motivate me. I hear,
Right.
yo, this person's over here doing this crazy thing. And I'm like, okay, cool. Now I got to match that with my
Hmm.
next bit of lyrics. I have to match that because I have to feel like I can compete with this person.
It's interesting. You feel that you need to compete with them. So you feel that they're putting the bar at a certain level and you want to get at least there or higher. So they're
Correct.
challenging you almost.
Yes. That's the
Wow.
way like I don't know, like as an MC, for me, it's always kind of been that, when
Hmm.
I hear somebody do something that has never been, maybe not, maybe never been done before, or say something in such an impressive way, um i'm 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 like, okay, I'm blown away. Now how can I do something similar? How can
Mm.
either maybe not similar, but if it has a term like in an afro or something or epistrophe or something along those lines,
Mm.
oh, okay, cool, how can I make a better one than that person just did? Like those different things are in my head.
So the 5 songs that you have in Spotify, I wanna start with the one that's the oldest. So the one in
Okay.
2017 you released, You Like That. And Rhymes, that's a love song. When I hear
Right.
it, it's a love song to me. I hear, I hear a little bit of a heartbroken. I hear smile on her face because I need that.
Mhm.
What were you going through that time, and what inspired you to do it? It's a great song.
I appreciate that. Thank you. First off, shout out to my guy MG. He produced the track. He's the one that's singing the vocals on it.
Ah,
Um, how that came about was kind of funny because I had another track from years ago, like maybe 2013, 2014, and I gave it to him and I said, "Hey, bro, this is what I need from you. Um, I'd love for us to be able to get on this track." I was like, "I got some lyrics to this track or whatever." So I gave him a completely different beat. He comes back around, and was like, "Yo, bro, I remixed this. What do you think of this beat?" And he plays the beat that you hear, that as You Like That. And
song,
I'm like,
yeah.
"Oh, this is real cool." So what I decided to do, in my at that time, my relationship, I was like, let me write a song for my lady
Hmm.
at the time. So what I did was I wrote it for her, but I also kept it very to where everyone else can relate to it too.
Mm.
There's different things when I mentioned, if you, I was like, you a queen, why are you worried about, the peasant? You should spread your
Right.
essence and bless the world with your presence. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? And that's honestly what I feel for, any lady, and how any lady should feel with their man if they, got somebody that's special and everything's right, just spread your essence and bless the world with your presence. Don't worry about nothing else. What you worried about? I got
mm.
you. It's me and you, right? So, those are kind of the that's I know that's the way that I ended it, if I'm not mistaken. But
Yes.
no, that song is definitely uh I really like that song. And I like the respect and response that I got from that song.
I mean, that song is well, it's now 6 years old, isn't it? But
Yeah, yes, sir.
it doesn't seem like it. That's for
Yeah,
sure. And, you mentioned you're from Brooklyn, and you
correct.
mentioned that you grew up golden age of hip hop, the '80s and
Yes,
the
sir.
'90s. I asked one of the AIs the top 10 rap artists, hip hop artists of 19 in the 1990s. They came up with the following. I want to see if you agree with it.
Oh, that's
This
beautiful.
is yeah, from 1 to 10, Tupac Shakur, Big, Nas, Jay-Z, Wu-Tang, Snoop Dogg, Outkast, Dr. Dre, Tribe Called Quest, and Ice Cube. Thoughts
It's
on those
it's
top 10?
it's hard to go against that, to be honest with
Right.
you. It really is. I I'm a fan of every single person that's in there for so many different reasons. I remember I had a good buddy of mine who was telling me why he loved Pac so much. Because
Mm,
I was wondering. I was like, hey, what made you fall in love with him the way that you did? And he mentioned to me about more so of he always talked about something like a social issue in his music. Sure, you got the gang banging side over here and maybe talk about what, people do in the hood, yada, yada, yada. But he also hit social issues so crazily and it motivated people too. He's like, yo, he did a song called Dear Mama and then Brenda's Got a Baby.
mm,
Like he really hit on a lot of different topics. And then he was such a prophet in a way of, still speaking positively to black people as well, and it's not even just black people, but it was something that he was a voice that we needed to hear, and I thought that it was something amazing when he told me that. So I thought that okay, cool, because I wanted to be able to pull from that. That's why I actually asked him,
mm.
because I wanted to be able to inject some of that in my stuff, in my songwriting. Okay, then when you talk about Nas, to me, I mean, look, he's in my top five.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
Nas. I'm such a Nas fan. Illmatic, aka the hip hop Bible, you know. It's amazing. Biggie, I'm from Brooklyn, so that's always gonna be right
Yes.
there for me.
Yes.
Um, One of the smoothest flows of all time, if not the smoothest flow of all time. Wu Tang, one of the best groups of all time. I mean, you got so many
Yes.
different lyricists that come together in a conglomerate like that. Amazing. Who else did you mention?
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop. Oh man, Snoop was such a vibe back in the '90s,
Right.
especially when he first came out. I was really young then, but I was still listening to the music, and I was, as I grew, I gained understanding a little bit more. But
Mm,
Snoop was such a great, great, iconic figure for West Coast hip hop, and the same thing with Dr. Dre. Then, obviously Dre in his later days, well, latter '90s, Eminem and those guys. So what
produced.
Dre did was so amazing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Trying to remember who else you
Now
said,
does
but
Outkast I never was Outkast really hip hop? That's kind of a odd what do
yeah,
you think?
Outkast was hip hop. Shout out to the
Yeah?
ATL. Outkast was hip hop for sure because of like you take away their double album that they did. I
Right.
can't think of the name. Love Below and Speaker Box, right? There's still an album like Aquemini, back in the days. Because you gotta
Mm,
think, maybe earlier '90s and mid '90s, it wasn't pop music for them. Every
right.
single thing was hip hop. And then when you talk about one of the greatest lyricists of all time, at that point, man, Andre 3000 is something
Andre
amazing.
3000. Yeah.
Not that Big Boy is a slouch, but Andre
Right.
3000 just happens to stand out almost on every single track that he does. So he makes you sit there. He makes very thought provoking, lyrics, and it's just he's amazing. It really is.
Now, my favorite on the list is Tribe Called Quest.
I love Tribe. Yeah,
Very
I.
different, very unique.
hmm I will say this. An old friend of mine. Shout out to Mook Dallas. He's the one who really put me on to to
Hmm.
Tribe, and I started to listen. Also, rest in peace to Fife Dog.
Right.
Definitely got to say the respects there. Shout out to Fife.
Yeah.
Q-Tip was one of my favorite artists back then, especially even when he went solo. So
Mm.
it's nothing but love and respect to Tribe Called Quest for real.
And then last is Ice Cube. I mean, he wrote everything on the Easy E album, if I'm not sure. Most of the NWA stuff.
Yeah.
He's a pioneer.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so funny. It's very interesting that you bring him up because today, I guess there was some argument, or maybe like yesterday or so, within the recent days, about him and Biggie Smalls, like who was better.
Mm. Hmm.
And I think that came from the Tony Yayo interview on Drink Champs. So
Ah.
that was very interesting. Um, I got nothing but respect for Cube. You know what I'm saying? One of the ambassadors, NWA, gangster rap, every single thing over there. Another icon. He even branched out of that, obviously, doing movies, the big three, everything, just nothing but love and support for that brother because he's kind of out there showing that, you can definitely do more as a black man than just rap, you know.
Mm.
So he's definitely doing things and he's doing it the right way. So nothing but respect to him.
Just a Sample in 2020 you released.
Yes.
Uh, it's so good. I have ample rhymes. I'm not for fragile minds.
Yeah.
Can easily dismantle minds. You have to be a legend. If not, you couldn't handle rhymes.
Yeah.
It's so good, rhymes. It's so good. It's
Yeah.
so
Nah,
good.
thank you. Thank you.
Inspiration of that song.
Inspiration of that song. So I have once again a buddy of mine. I used to work for the Brooklyn Hip Hop Festival,
Huh.
and he also was there. So we did a track. I mean, he pretty much made a beat tape, and I told him, "Yo, if you would like, I'll jump on the track, and we can be able to to make it happen." I listened to his beat tape. I heard that beat in particular. I was like, "Yo, you give me that, I'm gonna smash it." He's like, "Okay, cool." He gave it to me. The crazy part is, so I lost contact with him. I don't know
Hmm.
how. I don't know where he's at. I don't see him on, any type of social media or anything like that. And one day I was like, you know what? I want to release this because it's really good in my opinion. So that's how that came about. I literally called it just a sample because it's such a short beat, but I wanted
Mm.
people to be able to see that, yo, like I'm nice, like I do this, So, um, and I love the fact that you were, able to quote the hook at that,
I
that's
can't get
definitely one
enough
of
of
my
it.
favorite songs. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And you mentioned before how you like to end it, on an uptick. And this song, you spend the last minute or so with a completely different beat. There's like dogs
Mhm.
barking, and there's like this
Yeah,
mixture of. It's incredible the way you kind of switched it like that. I can't get enough of it.
yeah, no, no. Shout out to Shao on that. He definitely did his thing. Once, like I said, once I knew the outro, and I was like, you know what, that's not even nothing for me to touch because he did that production wise. That's all him.
Wow.
Once I heard that, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let that ride because it's like to
Mm.
me it was so hard, especially that
Yes.
everything that I
Yes.
did on the track. I was like, yeah, just go ahead and let that ride, and
Oftentimes, songs get overproduced. I don't
for
see
sure,
that not in your songs at all. I mean, so what? How far? I mean, you're just kind of on that point right there. Does the artist are you able to come in and say, look, that's just too much. We need to pull it back, or you need to increase it? I mean, you have ultimate say,
of
correct?
course, yes, I low. So it all depends, if you're in a conglomerate with a producer, and
Mm,
like you like to keep it 50-50, you know what I'm saying? Especially like for instance, shout out to my dude MG and shout out to Tick, that's in-house producers on Rhymes on Deck. So I definitely listen to them quite a bit. If they say, hey, I want you to they challenge me all the time and they
mm,
send me
mm,
beats that I don't usually go for, or I just wouldn't pick.
hmm.
If it came from anybody else, and there's so many songs that you guys haven't heard that's written to and stuff, but maybe I might not be fully comfortable with those songs, or
Mm.
maybe I just haven't finished it or this, that, and the third. But they challenge me with different beats. And then, when it's something like something that's interesting, if you look at my YouTube, it's all those type of beats, like I've just jumped on YouTube beats just to spit, you know.
Hmm.
And but it's funny because those are the type of beats that gravitate to me, you know. There's a song called The Return. I love, you know, beats like that, you know. It's the, I don't know, sometimes it's the New York boom bap that's in me, you know what I mean? So it's that. But I love the fact that my producers try to get me to, you know, branch out a little bit more and do this, that, and the third. So it's to answer your question as far as final say. For the most part, I would have final say, but I always make sure that, you know, my engineers understood and, you know, I listen to them. So it's
Mm.
not, you know, just like what I say goes type of thing, you know?
Friend of mine just sent me Prince is his family or the whoever owns the states like kind of slowly dripping out some of his, he had thousands of songs in his vault that he never released, like you're talking
Hmm.
about, that we've never heard.
Yeah.
He released this one song. My friend showed it to me today and it was incredible. It's hard for me to believe that he held this back, so I wonder if you have songs, that you don't think are ready, that may actually hit. And going back to YouTube, there's a video of you in the Team Backpack Cipher, the World MC.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
Oh my, it's just absolutely astounding. I mean, you don't I don't know how you're breathing through that. Rhymes, you go for I don't know how long without
Yeah.
one pause, without one misstep. It doesn't seem like you're reading anything. You're on a building
No,
top.
I'm not. Yeah.
Of course you're not, and it's just top of mind. It's just I I marvel over the skill that you have. I marvel over it.
And I appreciate it. No, it wasn't. This was something that that was written. And I, like when you go into a cipher, like shout out to Team Backpack, shout out to ah, World MC. Sorry.
World MC. Yeah.
Yes. So, no, when you go into a cipher, like all that's in your head is, get crazy lyrically, and I tried to put on display every single thing. When what I love about it though is, man, that's me in my element right there.
Mm,
Like my truest element. If anybody ever wants to get to know Master Rhymes as a rapper, as an artist, me at my best in my element, just throw me in a cipher
that's it. Really.
because I'm gonna try to be the most creative. I'm gonna say the most wild stuff. I'm gonna try. Like I know I go overhead so much, which is fun, and I love the fact that I do go overheads. But if you really want to know about me, you have like one thing that I always say: if someone listens to a song of mine, if it's not something like you like that, just one time, you're doing yourself a disservice because you're not catching what I'm doing. Like it's so many doubles and just the crazy wordplay and every single thing right like that. Like no. Like and I may not be, all these guys that's on the radio because, maybe that's just not my style, but I I uphold the art form to the
You
fullest.
certainly do. You certainly do. And which brings me to my next song, and I don't know if this is your masterpiece or they're all great songs. So Empire Thoughts. You have Penelope singing in the background. DNA starts, and I mean, it's just the kind of haunting, lyrics of her or the music of her voice with
Mhm.
your rap kind of weaving in and out of these thoughts and these passing moments. It just weaves, and there's a video too, and it just kind of weaves this very New York, very artistic, tapestry. It's again, I'm running out of superlatives, Rhymes. It's just it's masterful.
Mm. No, thank you. And shout out to Penelope, shout out to DNA. So DNA, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him,
No, really.
battle rap legend. Yes, yes. So definitely shout out to him. And actually, he and I actually are gonna drop a project coming out for you guys real soon.
Good.
But so I hit up my guy MG. He's the one who made that beat, and when he made the beat, I automatically just sent it to DNA. I was like, bro, I think this is the one. So go ahead and jump on this one. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? He went and he did his thing, and after I heard his verse, I was like, you know what? I feel like this is kind of empire thoughts. Like
Hmm.
that's all I was thinking because certain things that he was saying, it either, it's about in my head, the way I took it was building an empire, protecting the empire, you know what I'm saying, and maintaining that
Ah,
empire. Those are the three different things that I really got out of it. you know?
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, we're gonna call this Empire Thoughts. And then there's certain things that, in my verses, if you really catch, um, I talk about procrastination. That's what did I
Yeah.
say in the third verse? Oh man, I can't remember my lyrics at the moment, but I
I
know I
like
did.
I wrote down batter, bruise, and cripple more mites than polio.
Yes,
That was very clever.
yeah, yeah, batter, bruise, and cripple more mics than polio. Yes, so and to me, that's part of the building the
Right.
empire, because I'm gonna cripple and batter and destroy every microphone I see to
Hmm.
help build this empire. You know what I'm saying? So that was the part of the building of the empire. And then there was there's a little punchline that I do remember later on in the second verse when I mentioned they lazy on that side. Chill out, Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, you say
And I
Forrest Whitaker. Yeah.
yeah, and obviously, it's something in hip hop we throw punchlines and everything, but it's all in good fun and none. I
Of
trust me, I
course.
have nothing but love and respect for his Whitaker. But the fact that he has a lazy eye, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So that's why I was in my way to protect my empire. It's chill out. They lazy on that side. Chill out, Forrest Whitaker. Like no, you can't
Mm.
come over here because I follow it up. Only minds that similar can enter the aura to help me stay on top like the perfect fedora. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So all of that is just about protecting the empire. So no, I'm just not letting anybody into, the empire. I'm gonna protect this at any means. You know, your life. Oh yeah, that's what I said. I said your life can get took away on a random day, just like Mandalay. Yeah, obviously
Yeah.
Mandalay Bay shooting. Um,
Yeah.
so fuck the
Las
procrast.
Vegas.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm cursing. I don't even know if I can
That's it. No,
curse.
you curse all the fuck you want. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I said so. Fuck the procrastination and the damn delays. Yo, I'd rather spray than spray again. You know, empty clips than spray again. Man, Superman took the day off. It ain't no saving them. So pray for men. I'll leave you lyrically holy dog from this verbal sin. I've been great. You brothers couldn't even hold my pen weight. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all about protecting the empire, building it and maintaining. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just letting people know, like I said, I've been great. I just was never listening, So um that's kind of, what everything that entails with that song.
Rhymes, you give me chills when you do. When you write, do you write pen to paper or do you type your lyrics?
Both. More now, more typing, I will say. But I still do pen to paper.
It's absolutely amazing. And is there a lot of edits? Do you kind of flow when you write? Can you write as fast as you come up with these? I mean,
So something that I do is this. Once I'm playing the beat, like I said, I freestyle and everything. And when I get into my actual writing process, see one thing about writing for me is that I've hardly had time to actually really sit down and write. Right. So
mm,
sometimes it used to be on the way to work, a bus ride to work, which would take me an hour and some change. So I would have the time to either type lyrics in my phone, or if I'm here, I happen to get some alone time, I'll just sit down and write some stuff in the book. So sometimes there are lyrics all over. I can be going from a book to a phone.
mm,
But no, writing and creating is in me. I don't think I'll ever stop.
right.
Yeah.
And you, reading your bio, at around age 9, you decided to write your first rap.
That is correct. I was in PS92. So what's funny about that is Slick Rick, like my sister. Shout out to my sister who is a strong supporter, and I love it dearly. Um, my sister used to play hip hop music all the time. Not even just hip hop, but just music all the time as I was
Mm,
growing up. And she's older than me, so she always just had the radio blasting on something. And honestly, I found peace in that.
huh.
You know, like growing up was kind of rough or whatever, but honestly, she would have her room door open. I would like no one to be around me. What I would do, I would sit on the stairs right outside her room door by myself and just listen to the music and
Wow.
just be at peace. So I remember back in the day when bedtime story, my sister used to play that all the time. Shout out to Slick Rick. And that's what really captured me, because what happened was I was able to vividly picture every single thing he was saying in my head. And when that happened, I was like, yo, like this is amazing. So with that being the case, I was like, yo, I'm about to start. I know I'm gonna start rapping sooner or later. And then
Hmm.
when I was in ninth grade, I mean, excuse me, when I was 9 years old, I wrote my first rhyme. And that's literally what started everything. And I was funny also, the same name. I started as MasterRhymez, and
Wow.
really it was a ode to Busta Rhymes and to everybody else who kept the name Master, as far as like Master Ace, Grandmaster Flash,
Oh, yeah.
Grandmaster Melly Mel, like all the
Yes.
masters from
Yes.
back in the day.
Yeah.
So that's literally like how I got my name. I mean, I made it up, but more creatively. But shout out to Busta Rhymes, and all the masters of this hip hop thing that we love.
You mentioned Slick Rick, so underrated. I remember him with Dougie Fresh, The Show. I remember
Hmm.
Delancey Street. I remember. So I had cousins in the Bronx, and
Okay,
I don't want any start any trouble. But
it's good. You good?
but
You good?
uh, so summer of '85, LL Cool J rocked the bells. I mean, it
Hmm.
turned the world upside down. It was on every street corner. It was
Hmm.
everywhere. And
Yeah,
so Run DMC, of course, was like on their second album at that point. LL just come out. I'm rhyming and designing with your girl on my lap.
yeah. I'm rhyming
I
and
mean, they
designing with the
just
girl in my lap. Yep, yep.
yeah, I mean, they're just, he's from Queens and they're like in the Bronx. They're like, he can't say that, but they're still
Yeah.
listening to it. And they got the loud boom boxes and just the influence at that point. And then, shortly thereafter, Public Enemy and
Hmm.
these bands come out and it just, I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe how it just dominated. And it was so good and it was so new, even
Yeah,
though I could you say Sugar Hill Gang, the 70s and the 80s it kind of blossomed, 90s it came out a little bit more. But
yeah,
rap is started in New York City, right?
yeah.
In
Of
the
course.
70s. And
Yes.
then when NWA came out and we started hearing Fuck the Police and we started
Hmm.
hearing this stuff, I couldn't believe how different it was and how great it was. And so you're
Hmm.
young at this point, you're hearing it from your sister. You must be getting all these influences yourself.
Yes. Yeah, no, no, I definitely was. What was crazy, I really didn't get into NWA like that until I got older, cuz like,
Ah,
yeah, I mean, it really wasn't being played on the East Coast like that.
right.
So, I didn't get into them until I got older. But no, like my sister Frances loved like R&B, right? So she was playing all the stuff between Avant, 112, Boys to Men,
Yes.
all of this stuff, and it was something that was amazing. So I would hear that stuff, but
Mm.
then also hear all the hip hop stuff.
Ah,
And then, when I really started, being allowed to have, like my own radio and CD player and different things, I
mm.
started branching out into like the real, like the bigger lyricists. I remember getting the Lyricist Lounge CD. I can't remember what volume it was, but I remember hearing Mos Def and Talib
Yes.
Kweli and Eminem and all these like just amazing rappers exhibit. And I was like, yo, I gotta do this. This is this is
Wow.
the route that I need to go, because to be like, considered the best MC or one of the best MCs, you have to be able to do these things. Now I understand that certain things aren't popular now, or
Right.
definitely not commercialized now, you know what I'm saying? And that's, a whole nother thing right there. But, I love, like I mentioned before, I love to stay true to the art form. And then another thing is because I like to stay true to my name and true to myself,
Mm.
So whenever people be like, hey, I've had plenty of people be like, hey, why don't you just, dumb down your music and all this other stuff? I'm like, nah, I wouldn't be true to myself.
Mm.
I wouldn't be true to my fans, and no, I just won't do that. Never.
I remember I'm in New Haven now, there across the sound, and the rap artists used to come together. So what one night we saw LL, we saw Salt and Pepper, we saw Eric B and Rakim, we saw Public
Hmm.
Enemy, we saw all of these, they all would tour together, and
Yeah.
it was incredible. Eric B and Rakim, Paid in Full. I don't know if you're going to find a more perfect album from beginning to end. I would wear that tape down. I'm dating myself here, I realize, but
Now you
um,
good.
but I just it's just changed everything, and it's absolutely wonderful. Strange Things
Hmm.
in this year you release, and
Yes.
Rhymes. Here's another love song. I hear a love song. It's heart wrenching to me. It's heart wrenching when I hear it. That's how I perceive it. Talk to me about it,
Okay.
please.
Woo. Okay. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Right. So Strange Things to me is probably the most important song I've ever written,
Mm.
or at least my favorite. I'll say. Reason being is because it's the first song that I wrote after my mom passed. So my mom passed in December 2018, right? And I really wasn't, I mean, obviously I was down and everything. And then I really challenged myself. I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and, really get back on the horse and, start writing again. So, at this time, I was just kind of searching for beats, and I came across Tone Jones's page. He's a Grammy winning producer. And he makes beats, right? So I happened to hear this beat, and I'm like, yo, I can do something with this for sure. So I got it with the hook on it, and I decided to tell a love story, but not your average love story.
It's
What like real quick, what did you get out of it? I know you just mentioned heartbreak. What did you get out of that?
Yeah, between your lies, I see strange things.
Hmm.
Turn and walk away. Gotta let you go. So
Hmm.
I just see, yeah, I see separation. I see heartbreak. I see departure, but there's
Yes.
love there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. So the reason I asked you that question because the whole song is a double entendre. So the actual song, it's on the surface, yes, relationship, guy and girl break up, you know what I'm saying? Heartbreak, different things of that nature, right? The true meaning of it is the state of hip hop leaving the state of New York.
Hmm.
It's hip hop leaving the state of New York. And if you pay attention throughout the lyrics, it's nothing but hip hop references throughout it all.
Hmm.
So, for instance, when I mentioned we met through Erica, well, so we met
That's
through
right.
Erica, connected through our friend Mike, right?
Right.
But obviously, connection with a microphone. But Erica
Uh,
Badu is who I'm talking about.
huh.
So Erica Badu has a song called "Love of My Life," and she did the exact same thing on her song "Love of My Life." So throughout the whole thing, I'm just weaving in a million different hip hop references. For instance, the way I start the second verse when I say, "Now it's Common, she had exes that used to love her." Common has a song called "I Used to Love Her," and he's literally talking about the same exact thing. So that's why I made sure that I brought both of those into it, both of those artists specifically into it. Then I said dreams to travel around the world, but I used to smother. But think about it. Hip hop is saying, stay in New York. I'd
Hmm.
scream, but her thoughts were very. She wants to travel around the states, not be stationary. You see what I'm saying? So it's literally hip hop trying to hold on to the stranglehold. I mean, New York trying to hold on to the stranglehold on hip hop that it has. You know, um, yeah, there's a million different references in there.
Wow.
That's why I always say, you like no one will ever get me on one listen because I do so much and I love doing it. You know what I'm saying? I understand, like I said, it's not the most popular thing to be like a intricate lyricist or be deep into the technical side of things. But to me, this was, me really diving into songwriting, to be honest with you. It was still me songwriting, but just on a different level or different, below the surface.
Has hip hop left New York City?
Hip hop is global now. It's international. Before New York used to run any and everything when it came to hip hop. And I think what's interesting as well is that, West Coast ran it for a little bit, as you mentioned with
Yeah.
NWA and Ice Cube. The South really took over, especially when the mid 2000 popped off and you had Little John and them doing their thing and they were killing it. And then,
Mm,
you moved to Soldier Boy and then, Jeezy, Ludacris, shout out to Ludacris and T.I., amazing lyricists from the South.
absolutely.
Um,
Florida.
yeah, Flow Rider. You know what I'm saying? So hip hop, that wave was so crazy. And then something that kind of goes against us as New Yorkers itself is that same competitive nature that I mentioned to you earlier. So
Mm,
we were hurting each other, you know, as New York, in my personal opinion.
mm,
But I do think there's a healthy competitiveness. But think about this, like, and I've told this to my business partner. Shout out to K Spade and the Spade Spot. Um, New York is the only place, the only state that everybody wants to be the king of
mm.
in hip hop. No one's saying, yo, I'm the king of ATL.
Yeah, you're
Well, at
right.
least we don't hear it. We don't,
No,
I'm the king of
California.
California. You know what I
Nobody hears
mean?
it. Yeah, you don't hear it.
You don't hear
Yeah,
that.
it's a
You
good
hear
point.
people want to be the king of New York
It's a good point.
because our competitive nature is so ridiculous, Like we want to be the best MC. We want to be considered the best. And I don't see nothing wrong with that, but what I do see is if we poison our own waters, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's kind
Mm,
of what happened in the mid 2000s. And man, the South took over, which was great because everything, nothing's destined to stay the same. Everything's
right.
destined to evolve. So, and I think that's amazing. um and I got nothing but respect for it. Like I said, there's so many artists that's from down south that I think are just amazing. Like, I love it. I really do.
I was at an event and Nelly performed. I mean, he carries St. Louis with him everywhere. I mean, he
Oh yeah.
performed for 2.5 hours. It was absolutely
Mm.
incredible, but not a big presence in the Midwest with hip hop. I'm not. Can you think of any others in the
In the
Midwest?
Midwest, I mean, you got to go with Royce the 5'9" and Eminem
Uh,
and
that's right,
those
Detroit, Eminem,
guys.
of
Yeah,
course.
Detroit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Detroit. Yeah, yeah.
Detroit is crazy. Elzai, who's an amazing lyricist.
Mm,
To me, he's up there. He's so underrated.
mm.
Um, there's quite a few. There's
There
definitely a
are.
few over there.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
that you mention that, yeah. Does it matter the intention of the artist with their art? Does it if they want to say a certain thing, but whoever's consuming the art doesn't take it that way, is it important that the consumer takes it a certain way, or is it up to them completely?
That's the beautiful thing about art because it's up
Mm,
to someone else's, perception and interpretation. So, I can say, a million different things. It's the same thing that we just talked about with Strange Things. You
right.
took it the specific way you took it.
Yeah, yeah.
And the thing about it is most people will because they're
Right.
probably not listening for that. But
Mm,
maybe after they watch this interview or people who really know me, they dig.
mm,
They know to
mm.
dig and pay attention to the lyrics, and find something because like and I love it. I'll get text messages from friends saying, "Yo, I just caught that." You know what I'm
Ha!
saying? Like I love that. And sometimes it's months later. I remember it's just one line I had on a song I did, Infrared. So this was during the time where I would get on industry beats and just try to go off on them. So it's a song called Infrared, and there's this line I said, I turn you to a Dodger, boy, you lose your Scully. So what I was doing was talking like the line before that, I'm trying to remember, hold on. Oh, with these infrared bars aimed right at your Scully, I turn you to a Dodger, boy, you lose your Scully. Right?
Mm,
So I say that and I'm just talking about shooting infrared bars at someone's head, but obviously it's like a lyrical gun type of thing, right?
mm.
And Scully is always considered either a hat, your head, you know. But one person who was a baseball fan from California caught what I was saying. Are you familiar with baseball?
Very much. I'm
Okay,
a
are you
Yankee
familiar?
fan.
Oh, all right, salute there.
Yes.
All day. Um, so Vin Scully. Are you familiar with
Oh,
them?
of course, Los Angeles
Yeah,
announcer, yes, famous.
exactly. Who just happened to retire, right?
Yes.
And then just so happens he retired right before I did this verse. So that was in my head. So I said, I turn you to a Dodger boy, you'll lose your Scully.
Ha!
You see what I'm getting at?
There it is, there
Like
it is.
it's you know what I'm saying? Like it's fun, because like I said, some people would just hit me up out of the blue. And he's so far
So
the only
clever,
person that's ever hit me up and be
so
like,
clever.
yo, I caught that, you know? So it's just I love wordplay. I love, just references because that references to me is like the best thing because there's always somebody else who knows something.
Mm, mm.
And that's always fun.
When I occasionally go to, art galleries, and I always leave them confused because I want to spend more time on each painting, right? Because I
Hmm.
want to kind of soak it in. And it's similar to music, right? Each
Yeah.
song, you want to spend more time with it. So I go to an art gallery and it's almost like, 500 concerts going on at the same time because,
Mm,
you just spend so much with each and you want to kind of really take in and get the most you can
yeah.
out of each piece. Hustle 2, Fat Boy, Get It Right. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the funnest song I've heard in the longest time. It's
Okay.
just
Okay.
I put the word groove next to it. I must have listened to that on a loop. I went out,
Hmm.
I did some exercise this morning. I put it on a loop in my ears. It's just so fun. It's just
Yeah.
so quick and so
Yeah.
clever.
Mm. Okay. Nah. Thank you. So, Fat Boy Get Right. Hustle 2. So that song was really kind of a partnership. Really. So first off, shout out to my boy, my day one, literally my best friend, third degree. He actually just called me as we were talking. Right. So he has this program that he runs called Fat Boy Get Right. So he was overweight quite a bit throughout his adulthood. He would go and he would get in shape and he would lose it and kind of get lazy, you know what I'm saying?
Mm, mm.
And he's like, "Hey man, I'm really on this weightlifting stuff." And he really is. He's doing amazing. Shout out to him. And he looks amazing. So he's like, "Hey, I would love to have a song, to kind of match this." So I was like,
Ah.
okay, so honestly, this may have been, maybe the quickest song I've ever done, or one
Mm.
of the quicker songs. Um, but I wanted to deliver something that I thought was good, and also just talk about hustle in general.
Huh.
Because I also have another song called Hustle, so this one was just called Hustle 2, just in a different way.
I see.
So I'm trying to think of the lyrics. Oh yeah, I got it,
Keep it
Destiny.
right, keep it
Ain't
tight.
no shit. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
No, no, no. You're good. You're good. Shit, stop it. Get brolic. Give y'all gems. Feeling philanthropic, but giving y'all gems, but dropping gems for you. Give y'all gems. Feeling philanthropic. On this topic, I've bullshitted to get my shit tight. Only thing left for the fat boy to do was get right. So and it's more so of, hey, maybe it's not you being fat in your life, or overweight. It could be just you being lazy and not doing something, you not
Mm,
going to get that goal, you know what I'm saying? Well, get up and go get your shit tight, you know what I'm saying?
mm.
So, it's definitely a dope brand and I support it to the fullest. So shout out to Fat Boy Get Right. He's on TikTok, I believe Instagram and all these different platforms. So Fat Boy Get Right.
It leads me to my next question. It's a perfect segue rhyme. So I started my business. I started what I do. I'm in technology in the '90s, and
Mm-hmm.
I was working way too hard. You're very familiar with this. Working long days. I wasn't paying attention to myself, just like Fat Boy, and I got up to 340 pounds. And
Wow.
the doctor said to me, if you don't lose the weight, my daughter was just born. If you
Mm,
don't lose the weight, you're not going to see her graduate. So I
mm,
spent the next year and a half, I lost 130 pounds. And so people ask me, how did I do it? Like it's some secret. People want the quick answer, right? How did I tell
yeah.
me your secret? There's no secret, my friend. It's just discipline, right? I got
Yeah.
focused. I got discipline. That's all it took. I wonder how discipline plays a role in your life.
Extreme. Believe it or not, I am a United States Marine Corps veteran.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
So so discipline is extremely important in my life. It's so funny, like I didn't so my last deployment, we had some unfortunate situations happen, you know what I'm saying? And I told myself, I said, you know what? If I make it out of this, I'm gonna do music and I'm gonna take this thing serious. Ever since then, my goal was just to like I just been writing music, and I was what 27 or so at the time, 20, yeah, I was in my 20s. So, I wake up every day, with the hunger, with the mindset to grind. Like I try to create, like I'm jotting. If I don't write a song, you know what I'm saying, I'm jotting, and I'm
Hmm.
just jotting, just words and like words that I don't know. If I hear a brand new word I have never heard before, you know what I try to do? I try to literally create a punchline with it.
Wow.
I'd be like, okay, cool, this, and I found out what an aglet was. I never in my life heard the word aglet, until a couple years ago. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a punchline with this.
I don't
So
know the
I
word.
sat
Tell
down.
me.
An aglet is, like for instance, the tape at the end of your shoestrings.
Yes.
That's an aglet.
Huh.
And I never knew that.
No,
So
me
I was
neither.
like, yo, okay, fine. All right, I got you. Like, and then, for instance, I've heard the word despot before, but I just happened to hear it today. Like literally maybe an hour and some change before I got on with you. So I wrote something.
Wow.
Like I do my, to me it's, it's a art to stay disciplined, to try to do these things, you know what I'm saying? So I'm always at least just writing. I'm at least jotting all the time. If I'm not writing a song, I'm jotting to just keep my mind fresh, keep my mind going, because there's going to be stages that I get on, and I got to impress somebody. I have to impress somebody. It's either my flow, my punchlines, my whatever, my wordplay. Like if people really, really listening, oh man, you get a crowd that's really listening to you. Yeah, no, I'll kill it.
Mm.
So discipline is very important to me in that aspect.
And it's interesting, like you kind of had similar to myself when the doctor told me that, about I made the big change after that when he said you're not going to see your daughter. It's all I needed to hear. When you had this incident in the Marine Corps, you said you'd vow you'd turn things around. Did your view of discipline before the Marines, was it one thing and then it changed dramatically within the service?
No, no,
Really?
it was for some reason I was always pretty disciplined in my
Wow.
approach. I always stood on my morals and my values. I was very I'm a very straightforward person. I was that before and after, but the Marine Corps did help me grow into a man for sure. It boy did I grow. I can
Really?
definitely say that. Yeah, just a lot of times, and I was always mature, for my age, even as a
So,
teenager joining the Marine Corps.
hmm.
So it was very it was the honestly I always call it the best time of my life.
Hmm.
Besides anything with my daughter, like that's the best time of my life for sure.
You
Love
have a
so
very
much.
old soul, Rhymes. When as I talk to you, it seems it.
Mhm.
Um, what motivates you, Master Rhymes?
Life itself. I came from like my true story is a crazy story that I can't wait to tell one day on the album. But it's knowing that I've been literally at the bottom,
Hmm.
you know and sitting where I come from, like sitting, where I am now, um I have a lot of respect with the people that know me, and I'm thankful for that. It wasn't that I was looking for respect, but I've always felt like I try to give people something to respect, if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
Hmm.
um what motivates me every day is just the knowing that I'm still winning in my head, because I got a heartbeat. My bills are paid. I got, what I'm saying, like my daughter's good. My family and friends are good. I'm straight. And as far as music, what's gonna motivate me is to keep creating. To know I haven't wrote the best song that I've ever written, that I will write. I haven't wrote the best punchline that I will write. I haven't wrote the best melody. I'm nowhere near complete.
Hmm.
So I would love to see what that peak of mine will be, but it's not now and it's not no time soon. But I'm striving. I'm gonna hit it, And I just can't wait for that.
Quentin Tarantino has a quote where he says that he makes movies for himself that he loves and others can come and watch it if they want. Is that your attitude with your music? Are you making it for yourself or are you making it for others or both?
Both, definitely
Mm,
both.
mm.
There are things that I do for myself. Me and my boy, what another producer I mentioned, Tick. We were just talking about this. He's like, man, you do so much stuff that people aren't gonna catch that. And I'd be like, nah, that's fine. Like, because sometimes I do it for myself.
Yeah.
But if people really pay attention, they want to look something up, they'll catch what I did.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm eager, like I'm kind of itching to tell you something, but I kind of want to hold it because
Okay.
of future work. But yeah, like it's some things that that's coming that maybe some like people aren't going to catch, and some punchlines, some things that people might have to dig for and stuff like that.
Mm.
It's just always entertaining for me, and like I love it. I love to see if people are going to catch certain things or not. I love to see people make the stank face like we were talking about earlier. I
Yeah,
love to
yeah.
see people just nodding their head and be like, "Yo, I caught that." Like that's to an MC. That's giving us our flowers right there, because we know we're not gonna chart like that. You know what I'm saying? It's underground hip hop. And I've seen like friends of Spotify puts me as alternative hip hop.
Oh, did they?
But yeah, but no, no, I love it. And the people that really rock with me and really listen, man, it's trust me, it's more than appreciated.
The term Easter eggs, right? So there's these directors that, make movies and they put like these little hidden Easter eggs and they wait for people to find them, or video games often
Mhm.
have Easter eggs. It seems like you do that a little bit.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's fun. I have so much fun in this art form, and like I truly do. It's like I said, it to me it shows. Okay, cool. He has all the skills. Like every single skill that it takes to be a dope MC, whatever that list is.
Mm,
I want to be able, I want people to be able to check that off with his
mm.
writing. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not, the fast spitter, so I'm not gonna, someone lama do my gamma, all that stuff. I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
But, I'm gonna deliver every single type of, characteristic as an MC that I need to as a writer. You know what I'm saying? So if you're listening to me, buckle up and just trust me, be ready.
There's a famous story where Bob Dylan wrote a song in the 60s called All Along the Watchtower. And within 2 weeks, Jimi Hendrix performs it live. And Bob
Mm,
Dylan saw Jimi Hendrix perform it and said, that was never my song. That is his song. That's the way it should have been performed. The way, even though it came through me, it's not mine. And he never performed it again. And it's
mm.
so, do you believe that that's the case, that there's inspiration that comes to you and it might not be yours? Have you ever written something in somebody else's voice or in somebody else's kind of tone?
Um, I've done that maybe twice, two or
Hmm.
three times, maybe because of ghostwriting, just writing for other people.
Ah.
So, it's when you're writing for other people, you try to sometimes embody them and also
Mm.
envision, maybe a way that they would say certain things. You know what I'm saying? You may not be giving your A material away, but you're still giving something that's nice and gonna be able to fit the project and complete the song.
Mm.
Because sometimes you don't want to be over lyrical, you want to do what's best for the song. So if
Right.
the song needs you just to maybe say something in a more simplistic way, then do that. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're writing for other people. You know, everything doesn't always have to be, you like me being rhymes and just going trying to kill something. Maybe it just needs to be toned down a little bit and saying something nice, and maybe just saying something clever, if that makes sense.
Your approach to creating music, is it more art than science? I get like almost 90% artist from you and just a little bit of science. Do I have that wrong?
Um I always like to look at myself as a technician, to be honest, when it comes
Mm,
to it. You know, um, it just really, honestly, it depends on the beat.
I see.
If is the technician gonna come out, or is it, just more of the art? more of art. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's gonna be the best blend to be able to make this song whenever I hear this beat? Because the beat is what invokes every single thing from me. And then, once that happens, I just, I go and I try to do what I feel is necessary.
I remember Rakim once said that he tried to
Well,
fit as many words as he could between each
hello.
beat. Oh, did I lose you?
Okay, there we go. Yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
it just flipped. I remember Rakim once said that he tried to fit as many words as he could between each beat.
Yeah.
It's just I think about that sometimes. It's just it blows me away. Master Rhymes, what motivate? I'm sorry. How do you measure success?
I'm sorry, the signal seems to be messing up just a little bit
Ah,
right now.
can you hear me
I
now?
can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. And okay, I see you now too.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I
How,
didn't get that question.
no problem. How do you measure success?
How do I measure success? Well, that's a tough one because I want to be able to fully, make a strong living off of this music thing. But it success is tough because it could be me, staying true to myself. It could be making millions of dollars. It could just be me being able to make a living off of doing what I love so much. But I guess at the end of the day, I just want to be highly respected and
Mm.
recognized for what I do on this microphone.
I mean, if you your music brings me a lot of enjoyment, right? It
Thank you.
puts me in a state. I was working out this morning. It got my heart going, and I end up kind of screwing them in a little bit more, just trying to focus a little bit more. I mean, it's got to bring you a lot of satisfaction knowing that your art is helping people. It's elevating them.
More than, like I remember, I won't say this person's name, but had somebody hit me up in my inbox one day and said, because I released a song called Ayo, right? This once again when I was jumping on a whole bunch of industry beats. Joe Budden, he released a song called Ayo, and I decided to get on it. And I was just talking about, it was just more motivational, and the guy hit me up. He was like, "Man, you have no idea. I was about to kill myself." And I listened to Ayo, and you helped bring me back. You helped,
Wow.
motivate me, and it was something that was extremely powerful for me. I was taken aback, you know what I mean? Like it was one of the best feelings I could have ever had.
Of
First off,
course.
just to know that, you know, this guy's okay, but then also to know that my art touched someone in a specific way. Because to me, that was more so of songwriting and art too. You know,
Mm.
that wasn't me as like the technician, really kind of going very lyrical and everything. You know what I'm saying? So that was just a bunch of songwriting that I really helped, and I wanted people to see certain things and help them get through it, type of thing. And I think that was extremely powerful for me. It really was.
Yeah, that must have been something. That must have been quite a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you can turn somebody around like that, and save a life. You know, Rhymes, when you first accepted this, I was very excited. I really enjoy your art. I can't wait to hear more of it. I really, really thank you for spending time with me today. If I'm in the Brooklyn area, maybe get a cup of coffee or something. But how can we get in touch with you? Anybody listening?
Oh yeah, sure. No, Master Rhymes at pretty much on all platforms. I'm not a big social media guy, so you guys won't see me posting all the time or anything. But honestly, yo, jump in the DMs. Y'all can always talk to me. You know what I'm saying? If something motivates you, people want to get on tracks, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? I'm always open for business. Always, look, and I do appreciate any and everybody who just even listens to the music. It comes from the bottom of my heart, and it's just something that I love to do. And the fact that people take time to listen to an MC like me who's really trying to keep the essence of this thing going.
Mm.
Nah, I appreciate y'all to the fullest. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and, it's Master Rhymes with a Z at the end. I'll make sure to put those,
Correct.
show notes in there, and you have Twitter, your Rhymes on Deck. One
Yes.
on Twitter, Instagram, your Master Rhymes. Of course, I
Yes.
listen to you on Spotify. I'm not really pushing them at all, but I can't wait to for more music. I can't wait to see what new things come from you. Thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate it.
Honestly, it was an honor, and I love listening to your other interviews as well. I still check them out on IG and everything. So I definitely, it was definitely a level of respect for you, and I'm just truly thankful to be on your platform.
Thanks again. You be well. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Salute.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypins.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Would you like to financially support the podcast? You can go to our Patreon site. Consider $5, $10, or $20 a month. There's all kind of plans that we have there. There's like a one-time payment. What is this podcast episode worth to you? $25, $50, $100, $500, $1,000, $5,000. You be the judge. You can go to our PayPal account to do that as well. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pin's Discipline Conversations.